How do you do? What's going on, everyone? Happy New Year. Yeah, man, this year is going to be the best year of our lives financially, socially, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, everything. It's going to be literally the best year of our lives. And I'm very, very blessed and happy to be spending it, starting it off, doing this stuff, spending it with you guys, talking to you guys, and it's just gonna be a blast. So yeah, man, there's gonna be so much in store for 2022. It's ridiculous. So yeah, man, just one of the main things we gotta keep reminding ourselves is to consistently remain focused and grateful for everything. Also, being humble is also very, very important. So in today's video, we're going to go over the stock market. Very interesting stuff going on over there. We're going to go over the SPY, the NASDAQ, the IWM. We're going to talk about the crypto markets. And then I'm going to go over all of the stocks you guys wanted me to do technical analysis on. So without further ado, man, let's get started with the first video of the year. All right. So number one, this week can be a little bit hectic. So Monday, there's not going to be anything really happening. Tuesday, OPEC is going to have a meeting. So crude oil is going to be affected. Manufacturing PMI ISM is going to be released at 10 a.m. as well. And then on Wednesday, non-farm employment change is going to happen, and there's going to be FOMC meetings minutes at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. So we're starting off the week of the new year with a bang. And then Thursday, there's more important news, unemployment claims, some more natural gas storage goes in line with the OPEC meetings, and the services PMI. And then on Friday, it's going to be some more important news here. But again, this isn't like a automatic, like, oh my God, the market's going to fall. We just have to see how these numbers play out, and then what story basically the media, what story the Fed, and what story the government are basically going to talk about in terms of this news. So this news could be really, really bad potentially, but then they could spin it in a way where the market responds in a positive way. So we have to be mindful of that. I just want to show you the schedule of the week upcoming. So there's that. So now here is the SPY, and I said we were monitoring this uptrend here on the SPY, and I got into lotto puts as this uptrend broke, right? I also mentioned that, I wanted to get into puts for 2 to 3 weeks out once we broke this uptrend, but I didn't end up buying into it. I just got into the lotto puts instead. And then I also, I had to take care of some personal matters. So I didn't get a chance to really, re-enter, do all those other stuff. But I mean, this worked out really well, because when there is a clear shift so you could use this anytime. Literally, whenever there is a huge rally moving forward in the new year, whenever there is a huge rally like this up for multiple days in a row, you connect a trend line from the bottom wick and extend it. And basically, as soon as that level breaks, it's a very, very safe and good shorting opportunity. And that was literally my only, justification for entering that trade. And, it worked out. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys. And then the other thing was this trend line here. I also mentioned that if we broke down below this trend line right here, this would basically be another really good short opportunity. And we can see that we closed below that level. So clearly right now, there is a shift in the momentum where we are coming back and retesting levels of support. There is some profit taking right now on the SPY, which is completely normal. We had 6 consecutive green days, right? And it makes sense that there is going to be a bit of a pullback. So we have to see now. The SPY basically is going to come back and retest 473. If it, holds, then if not, then 470 and then 468 are going to be the next levels that we're going to come back and retest. But again, I mean, in terms of bull flags, right? It is completely normal for bull flags to even come back down and retest the 618% fib level, or even the 50% fib level. So it's not out of the norm if we do come back and fall to 468 or even 465. Just be mindful of that. I personally don't think that happens. But, you know, aside from that, we did fall below, you know, the important trend lines that I said needed to hold. And then, you know, it was a perfect shorting opportunity. So now the risk reward is in favor of shorting currently. All right. So yeah, we just have to see how that goes. We can see that the SPY is now working off of the MACD. It's overbought, but it's moving downwards now, which is good, which means that, you know, we want to see it start to become oversold again. If it becomes oversold, what the best case scenario would be is if the SPY can get oversold on the MACD here and, you know, continue falling, and the SPY can also coincidentally fall down to 473, maybe even 470. That would give enough time for the MACD to become oversold. And then I would really want to see the RSI act dramatically and fall downwards as well. That would be very, very bullish for the overall market. And that is basically what we are going to be looking for. And, you know, the upward target for the SPY moving forward is going to be 488 to 496. If we make new all-time highs and go into the new year, this is definitely going to be a very, very likely upward target. We're almost there basically, and you know, we've been in a huge uptrend for the past 2 years. But now this year is going to be very interesting because now the Fed is going to start talking about tapering way more. They're going to start talking about interest rate changes way more. It's going to be very, very interesting. But these are the levels on the SPY. And that is essentially my analysis on the SPY. I do want us to come back and retest support. And if we do and hold, and the technical indicators can become oversold and a bit more favorable for the algorithms to have buy signals, that would be spectacular. And then that would continue on the upward momentum of the market. So there's my analysis on the SPY. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the NASDAQ. All right, here's the NASDAQ. You can clearly see I was saying that 402 was a very, very important level of resistance on the NASDAQ, which is these two lines right here, basically. And we failed. We clearly failed. But now, you know, we've come back down and retested this level of support. We broke 400, first of all. We're at 397 now, 397.85. The next downward level of support is 396.78 and then 393. So what I do want to share is that the MACD is falling pretty dramatically in terms of, you know, when compared to the actual stock movement down, which is really good. Basically, that's exactly what we want to see. We want to see the MACD as well as the RSI move very sharply downwards, even if there is a small downward move in the stock. That means that there is tons of room to the upside. And that's exactly what we want to see here. So that is basically what you can clearly see right now. You can see the MACD was all the way up here a few days ago. And within a few days, the NASDAQ fell from 404 to 397. And basically the NASDAQ is almost oversold again on the MACD. And that's very, very good. That's exactly what we want to see. So, yeah, essentially, now we need to just see if these levels of support can hold. Obviously, the NASDAQ is, you know, broke this uptrend as well. The SPY broke the uptrend. So people are currently going short and they're taking profits on this huge rally, which is completely understandable. And yeah, now we just have to fall back down to levels of support, continue to hold, and see, you know, how the market responds moving forward. We also have to realize that the Santa Claus rally, the first 2 days of the trading year are still considered to be in the Santa Claus rally. And the Santa Claus rally, you know, 77% of the time, the market is green. So overall, the market is green. So yeah, I mean, clearly we've been very green, but yeah, the first 2 days of the year are still considered bullish. So we need to see if that is going to be the case. But right now, it looks like we are in a profit-taking mode. So essentially 397 and then 395, then 393 need to hold. But aside from that, again, you know, this could just be a very, very nice bull flag dip buying opportunity at these levels of support. And then from there, we just continue going on higher. So yeah, there's my analysis on the NASDAQ. We're still a bit away from all-time highs, which is completely fine. And yeah, now let's go ahead and take a look at the IWM. All right, here's the IWM. I readjusted the levels of the fib levels here to make them a bit more clean. We can see that the IWM is basically holding at this 38.2% fib at 224.45, pretty on the dot here. And we can also see that the MACD is moving down below. All right, so look, so basically this is what we want to see. So the IWM is basically holding price pretty perfectly. So what was it at? 224 a few days ago, right? The MACD was very, very overbought. But now what the IWM did was it worked off of extremely overbought conditions because no one wants to buy into a stock. Algorithms do not look to buy into stocks when they are this overextended on indicators, for example. What they would rather do is buy when they are either oversold or, you know, approaching at least like better levels, right? So over here, it was not a favorable buying opportunity. What the IWM ended up doing was held this level of support in this range basically and worked off of the overbought and is now becoming oversold with basically like $1.50 away, which is very, very bullish in my opinion. It's very, very good. It means that there's a lot of buyers and people holding this up, which is very, very good. And it's good in terms of the indicator as well. This is exactly what we want to see. So now moving forward, even if we do fall back down, right? And this is happening while the SPY and the NASDAQ are making new lows. Okay, so the IWM is still holding while the SPY and the NASDAQ are like falling down a bit. So that is, again, very, very bullish for the IWM. And in general, the IWM outperforms the markets. It outperforms the SPY and the NASDAQ in January. So the IWM, just really keep your eyes on this. I wouldn't even, I mean, like, it would just be a safe bet to just buy at the money calls. In my opinion, I'm not your financial advisor, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm probably going to end up doing is to like blindly just buy into, you know, at the money calls for maybe a few months out. If the market falls on Monday or Tuesday, I mean, yeah, man, I want to participate in the huge rally that I think is going to end up happening in January on the IWM. And yeah, the safest way to do that would be to buy at the money calls for 2 or 3 months out. So yeah, that's what I think I might end up doing. So yeah, essentially 222 needs to hold as support. Then of course, you know, 220. And then this area of support down here is going to be very, very strong. The 217.50 to 218 level. Sorry, excuse me. So essentially, that is really what I think is going to end up happening on the IWM. This is a potential inverse head and shoulders here. So now I guess we just need to see if the IWM can fall down, complete this, you know, inverse head and shoulders, and then skyrocket upward, which I think might end up happening. So it's going to be really interesting because, again, banks and hedge funds want to invest in the indice that has the most upside. The IWM currently has, from a risk reward, just a percentage standpoint, it has the most upside potential, about 10% from the current prices. Compared to the SPY and the NASDAQ, they're basically at all-time highs. So again, you know, in my last video, I went a bit more in depth in terms of the psychology of what banks and hedge funds are looking for. But if you start off the year and you invest in a bunch of losing stocks and they end up doing really, really well, you can show those gains to investors and be like, look at how amazing we did in the first month of the year. Give me more money and, you know, I can potentially do this for the next 11 months for you guys. So that is what a lot of people are basically going to be doing. So keep that in mind. So yeah, there's the analysis on the IWM. Looks bullish overall. You know, we could come back down and retest 220 to 218. That would still be a bull flag, which is completely fine. But yeah, man, this is really what we want to see in terms of the indicators, is what we want to see. Not necessarily what we want to see in the RSI, because we haven't really seen movement. But what I would love to see now on the IWM or for the RSI is if we can crack down just a little bit, and then I want to see the RSI vomit. I want it to have a very dramatic move to the downside compared to the IWM stock price. So yeah, there's that. There's my analysis on the overall indices markets. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. All right, here's Bitcoin. We're at this is very, very important right now for Bitcoin because now we have all of the technical steam basically to go to the upside. Because the MACD is now very oversold, right? But you know, we essentially need to cross above and close above multiple levels of resistance before this becomes overbought. Before this MACD basically crosses above right here, Bitcoin needs to show some bullish strength. If it fails and we can see that the MACD is basically sharply moving upward, yet Bitcoin's price is not really sharply moving upward, right? And so that is the discrepancy that I'm currently seeing. That's why I think that this is currently bearish. And I do still believe that we're going to come back and retest these two levels. But if Bitcoin can now, before this crosses above, if it can close above 49,000 even, that would be really, really good. Because that would essentially break this bear flag, and it would verify positive momentum to the upside for this MACD, which would be very, very good. But currently, you know, we need to see a close above at least 48.5, at least 48,500, and then 49,300. So yeah, currently this is what's going on right now. We're oversold. This is what we wanted. But now we're still showing some sort of weakness with the MACD oversold. So that's not good. So yeah, please just keep that in mind. If Bitcoin does not do well here, the rest of the crypto market obviously isn't going to do well. And again, all of the banks and hedge funds and everyone, they're assuming they understand that retail investors know that January is going to be very bullish. So that's why, you know, it's very important to keep that in mind. They don't want retail investors to be rewarded at all. So you have to keep that in mind now. So they're going to try to manipulate the market and shake people out. And if we start the year off by, you know, shaking out to the downside, a lot of people are going to start the year off losing a lot of money. A lot of people are super, super bullish right now on Bitcoin. If we fall down to even 43,000, it would cause a lot of panic. So yeah, we just need to continue monitoring that. But that is essentially my analysis on Bitcoin right now. We were pretty on point this entire time. I was saying that we were going to bounce out of this downtrend. We did. We failed at this level of resistance like perfectly, like I was saying that we were essentially going to. And yeah, now we're down here. So after a huge move like this, it's very, very unlikely that we come back and basically make a V-shaped recovery. Usually what ends up happening is we fall lower. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And yeah, there's my analysis on Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum. All right, Ethereum. So clearly, you know, it's nice and bullish. We can see that we're closing above this downtrend, and then we're closing above this 3750 level. It's fine. That's cute, right? But then the MACD, looking at it again, we were extremely oversold on the MACD, and now we're almost basically crossed above. Yet Ethereum has basically done nothing. So that is very bearish. Okay, Ethereum basically only moved $200, yet it wasted all of this upward momentum on the MACD and only went up $200. Usually in the stock market, if something was this oversold and it, you know, it's bullish, this should be a move all the way up here, right? But Ethereum is just hanging around over here, not looking too good. That's why I think that Bitcoin can also fall down lower, because Ethereum clearly isn't showing much strength. But yeah, man, I mean, essentially Ethereum needs to cross above 3950. This just does not look bullish. It just does not look bullish at all because of the weakness in the MACD. and the weakness in the upward movement of the RSI. So 3950 needs to break, and then, you know, whatever, even 3700 needs to hold. But all I'm saying right now is it's not the time to buy into anything, really. You could wait. I mean, long term, you can buy whatever you want, because all of this stuff is going to go up, in my opinion, long term. But the safer bet would be to either wait until we close above 3950 and then re-monitor what's going on with the indicators, or just wait until we fall back lower and wait for Bitcoin to finish off its move. That is essentially it for the entire crypto market. But I'm going to go ahead and do the analysis on the other stocks that you guys want me to do, all the other cryptos you guys want me to do. But yeah, there's the analysis for the stock market. There's my analysis overall for the new year, and my thoughts. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at all of the stocks you guys wanted me to do technical analysis on. All right, number one, Macy's. You can clearly see that Macy's does not look great in terms of the technical indicators. We're very overbought on the MACD. We just broke this uptrend, huge bear flag still currently on Macy's. So Macy's is one of these interesting retail stocks that I feel can do well in January, but we have to keep that in mind. It also depends on how the IWM does. If the IWM does really well, I think Macy's is going to do really well as well. But of course, there's going to be support down at 25, and then a much better area to buy would be at this 23.6 level here on Macy's. So Wells Fargo is a bank and obviously heavily influenced by the IWM as well. Now, if Wells Fargo, so currently you can see that the MACD is it's overbought. It doesn't look good at all, right? The RSI is falling downwards. So essentially, again, if the IWM does well, then Wells Fargo should do well as well. The levels of support that would need to hold here is this 47.34 level down here. And then, of course, the close of this candle here at 46.85. Those are going to be the two very important levels of support moving forward to the downside. But if we begin falling on Wells Fargo, I feel like this low can end up being broken. But I mean, we just need to wait and see essentially what happens with the IWM specifically. If the IWM starts pumping, then Wells Fargo is most likely going to start pumping as well, but not necessarily as well as JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs or Citibank or the other more prominent banks. Wells Fargo isn't as good of a bank. So, you know, just if you want to invest in a bank and trade one, right? Like, for example, Citibank or JP Morgan would have potentially a better chance, right? Wells Fargo, it's not as beaten down, and it's still, it doesn't have as much room to the upside compared to the others, is what I'm saying. So basically, you can invest in those if the IWM starts pumping. Basically means that you're trading something that has more room to the upside, more risk reward. So there might be a heavier gain. So yeah, there's Wells Fargo. All right, here's DOT. So right now we can see that the MACD on DOT is you know, favorable. It's crossing crossing upwards. It's oversold and it's starting to cross above, right? So we found this level of support here at 2650-ish area and we bounced up. But now the only issue is that the RSI moved up very sharply, yet it did not really break above where we were before. So right now the RSI is almost at the same level as where it was before in terms of the price. So that's not the most bullish signal. Okay. So right now it doesn't look like a favorable buying opportunity. It would be a much better buying opportunity once you see what happens with Bitcoin and Ethereum specifically. But, you know, again, this 24 to 22 area seems like a really, really good buying zone. And if you caught this level on the prior time that I was doing analysis on it, this was a really good buying opportunity. But now, you know, we need to see if this 2650 level can hold, and then if not, then it's going to fall back down to 25 or then 24. So just be careful. But right now, I don't think is the best buying opportunity because of this weird move, and then the RSI is very, very sharply moving upward. So yeah, I would not buy into DOT yet. I would want to see confirmation in the rest of the crypto markets first. CLF, this is looking, I mean, this was a very, very strong move. We had one red day a few days ago, and then these past 2 trading days were just completely green. But now we are outside, and we're basically touching the upper level of the B band, which is a bit worrisome. Obviously, in the past, we've been trading outside of the B band multiple times, right? But usually what ends up happening is we tumble back inside. So if this persists and we continue rallying for another few days on CLF, expect a retracement back to these same levels as has happened every single time in history, basically, right? So yeah, overall, I mean, you can see the RSI is very, very strong. It's moving upward with the price of the stock also moving upward and breaking prior levels of resistance. That is basically what we want to see. We want to see the RSI moving in a sharp way, but also, you know, breaking levels of resistance. Even though the MACD is not the best right now, right? It's overbought. But I mean, CLF is making basically a parabolic move. So that is bullish, right? I mean, the indicators don't look as great, right? But I mean, the stock price is moving very, very bullishly. So CLF, I mean, it's not the best buying opportunity right now either, because we haven't really found a level of support. It would have been a much better buying opportunity a few days ago when we did retest this level of support. But now I would, you know, if you do want to buy into something, I would probably buy into like a short-term contract very cheap, or basically I would have like a upward target of like 2250 and then take profit. But it's not the best time essentially to buy into CLF. I would much rather short CLF after a parabolic move to the upside. So if we have, if this week we start moving very, very parabolically, I would look for a short to the downside. So I'm definitely going to be looking at CLF. All right, Lucid is not that bullish either. So you can see that the MACD is curling upward, but the price of Lucid is not curling upward. You can clearly see it's in a range here, and it's not really doing much, which is not good. And you can clearly also see the 20 exponential moving average is acting as resistance. So that is not good either. So I would wait until Lucid breaks above $41 before going long at all, longer term. In terms of day-to-day day trading, it's spectacular. But yeah, to really see upward movement now, we need to see it create a bottom and foundation above $40 to $41. You can see now that the upper level of the B band is sharply moving downwards, and we're about to start coiling. So what this could mean is we can consolidate for another few days, maybe another week or two, and then have a parabolic move either to the up or the downside. So just keep your eyes on Lucid, watch for these levels of resistance to the upside, and then the level of support that you would need to watch for the downside move would be approximately 35.50. So just keep that in mind for Lucid. Right now is not the best opportunity to do anything either. It's not a good time to go short or long. So just wait for confirmation and be patient. Live Nation, I don't know much about who owns, I don't know much about the company, to be honest, but from a technical standpoint, this is really, this looks really bullish. I'm not sure what the heck is going on with the company, but we worked off of extremely overbought on the MACD. Now we're basically almost oversold, and Live Nation's price has not it hasn't fallen that much. So this is really, really interesting. Wow, I mean, this could go much higher. It looks really, really bullish. If these levels of support, if 117 holds, if even 116.50 holds, this is, I mean, this can go really, really high. This is a really interesting setup. I'm not sure why this is so bullish, but it looks very, very bullish. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, overall looks very, very bullish. You can see that the Bollinger Bands are moving upward, which means that there's still tons more room to the upside. The MACD worked off of this so beautifully while not doing much in the stock price. So either this is being manipulated. Let me see the volume. Yeah, it looks like, I mean, it doesn't look like a heavily retail traded stock. I mean, yeah, as long as 116.50 holds, if we fall down and retest 116.50, this would mean that the MACD would become extremely oversold, and that would be a very, very good buying opportunity, in my opinion. So, I mean, yeah, we just need to see how that plays out. Overall, this looks very, very bullish. All right, here's Tex Herix Corporation. So I made a fib level here. So from a technical standpoint, we closed above the 10 or the simple moving average right here, the exponential moving average, and essentially what we need to see is we need to see a close above 45.59. That is going to be a good, safer long entry. Or, you can wait and see if we can create a bottom above 44.20 and then start moving upward. Then make a buy opportunity. But right now you can see that the MACD is moving downwards, yet we're still creating a bullish structure on Tex. So that is very bullish. So essentially we need to see moving forward if this low today can hold as support. So it's 43.45. We need to see if 43.45 can hold, and if we can continue going on upward here. But right now, when the MACD is moving downwards, yet if the price is moving upwards, that is very, very bullish, and that would be a very good indication if the price can also hold above levels of support. So there's that for Tex. Overall looks pretty good, but we need to see how the IWM and the rest of the stock market essentially does. So Microsoft obviously is falling because the NASDAQ and the SPY are falling. And essentially we need to see if 333.33 essentially holds on Microsoft. That would be a really, really good indication. Essentially now we need to see how FANG and the really, really large tech companies are going to respond and hold levels of support. If they can hold support, that would be a very good indication that the SPY and the NASDAQ have also found a bottom, and they would start bouncing upward as well. So one of the reasons why I alerted, the NASDAQ bottom was because Microsoft was starting to bottom out at this level of support here at 318. And yeah, it worked out beautifully. So now 333 needs to hold, and then, if 333 breaks, then 330. But essentially, the NASDAQ and the SPY and these larger tech companies move hand in hand. So essentially my analysis on the SPY and the NASDAQ, basically, you can just apply that here. But overall, I think that we do see somewhat more downside room, unless we find like a support, unless like we hold this 335 level on Microsoft and then we start moving upward. That would be pretty bullish for Microsoft. But overall, we can see that the MACD is moving downwards. The price is also moving downwards, so it's not the best case scenario. It's not like what we saw in Live Nation a few stocks ago, but this is good that the MACD is now moving towards becoming oversold. So that would be a much better buying opportunity. So yeah, there's that on Microsoft. So Nvidia, obviously, this is a Pelosi stock, so it's a safe bet. Just kidding. Anyway, you can see that it's failing at the 20 exponential moving average clearly, right? It's not closing above it. This is clearly acting as resistance. So number one, we need to see if we can close above 298, which is essentially going to be this 20 exponential moving average, and it would give us a nice wiggle room, basically 298, 299. We can see that the MACD is moving downwards, obviously, because the price is also moving downwards. So that's not the most bullish either, but that's more normal, right? So the levels of support, we're literally at a very important level of support at 293.50. If that breaks, then we're going to have to come back and retest this 290 level on Nvidia. Then if that breaks, then, we're falling back down to this 280 and then the 270 level. But overall, one thing that is a bit shady is that the RSI is not moving sharply down. That's what we wanted to see. If this was going to be a bullish move, we want we would want to see the RSI sharply move down, but it's, you know, it's moving down in a nice little slope. That's not the best case scenario. So yeah, those are the levels on Nvidia. You could wait for a potential close above 305 even to go long again, and then, you know, the upward target would be up here at like 355. So yeah, there's that for Nvidia. Just be patient, don't force anything, just wait for the trades to come to you this year. And yeah, so HD, obviously, just purely this looks very, very bullish, right? But every single time there was a super bullish move on HD, either there is a time of consolidation or there is a time of like coming back and retesting levels of support. So that's essentially what we need to wait to see on HD. Right now is not the best situation to go long because, you know, we could continue going higher, right? That's completely fine. But you would need to wait to see if we break above 419, and then, you know, obviously this recent all-time high at like 420. So if we start breaking above those levels and you want to play a momentum play, that's completely fine. But what I want to see is if HD either can come back and retest, you know, 407 and then maybe even 405, come back to this 20 exponential moving average. That would be a safer play to buy. Or if we just start consolidating here and then, you know, consolidating for another huge leg up. So yeah, I would not get into HD yet. You can see that the MACD is extremely overbought here. We're almost overbought on the RSI as well. But yeah, I would wait. Either you can play the momentum as we break above 416.50, 419, and then 420. Or you just wait for a retest of levels of support. But overall, HD looks very bullish as well. Roblox, I mean, this is a freaking, these guys are geniuses. Very, very amazing, smart team, in my opinion. So we can see that the MACD is overbought a bit. The RSI is moving upwards pretty sharply, but the price didn't really move upwards. So what we want to see is, to be safe, what you want to see is a close above 108.50 before you go long. Because we're still trading below this 20 exponential moving average. We want to see it close above this clear level of resistance here. If that's the case, then it starts holding support above that level, then that would be a good opportunity to go long. And, you know, the next target would be, you know, here and then the all-time highs. So I would wait for us to break above levels of resistance before going long on Roblox. Or, you know, I would buy if we fall back down to like 93. But overall, right now, Roblox is not the best. You want to wait for confirmation. But you know, overall, this is a bull flag. Ooh, sorry for the drawing. But you can see that this is a bull flag formation. And we're just coming back and retesting levels of support, which is completely normal. So now we just need to see now if we can break above levels of resistance. So overall, Roblox looks pretty good as well. Now, what doesn't look good is Riot. So Riot is clearly breaking. It failed at these important levels of resistance, and now it failed at this support. So what needs to hold now is 2160. 2160 now is the level that needs to hold on Riot. What is interesting now is you can see that the Bollinger Bands are falling down below here, and they're looking to squeeze and curl, right? So when the Bollinger Bands squeeze like this, that essentially means that there's going to be a explosive move either to the upside or the downside. So we're just going to have to keep monitoring what happens on Riot. But 2160 is going to be a very important level. And basically, yeah, man, this is basically keying off of the weakness from Bitcoin. So, and I mean, obviously the overall stock market was falling as well, but most importantly, it was because of Bitcoin. So we need to see now continued. We just essentially need to watch how Bitcoin moves, and we also need to monitor the Bollinger Bands moving upwards. And then a very, very important close would be a close above the 20 exponential moving average. If we can close basically above 2630, that would be very, very bullish. We have not closed above this level for a while. And if we can get multiple closes above that level, that'd be really, really good for Riot. All right, Amazon, you can clearly see we broke below this level of support at 338.69. The next downward level of support is going to be 33.12.60, and then this very important one at 32.79. So overall, the market, I mean, Amazon is basically falling. It's failing at this 20 exponential moving average clearly because, the overall market was also falling. So Amazon falling is completely normal as well. But now it's going to be interesting to see how we can hold these levels of support. And then if we can, that would be a really good buying opportunity. We can see that the MACD actually on Amazon is now oversold, right? So that is a good sign. And also the RSI is falling pretty sharply, which is also another good sign. So as we continue falling, if we can find a level of support above either of these support levels while the MACD continues falling, that is going to be huge for upward momentum. And whereas the other, Microsoft, for example, huge company, the MACD was overbought, you can see here, right? But now Amazon, it's oversold. So it's a good sign. It means that Amazon has more room to the upside potential than Microsoft does. So we just need to see how it holds above these two levels of support here. So BlackRock, they have $9 trillion under asset management. This is a really large company. You can see that it closed above the 20 exponential moving average. It is oversold. The RSI is moving upwards, and we're currently in a range, right? But if we can basically close above this high at 933, this could potentially start making, retesting the highs. So that would be from 933 to like 972. That would be a pretty good long opportunity to go up. And currently we're in a bear flag. So a close above these important levels of resistance would be very, very important and basically nullify this bear flag. But currently this is a bear flag. And if, the overall market does well, then BlackRock is going to do well. And it'll be very interesting to see how BlackRock is affected by the IWM as well. So if the IWM starts doing well, I'd be interested to see how much money is funneled into BlackRock. Pfizer looks really, really bullish, man. I was saying that this was a really, really good setup. We held this downward support perfectly, basically at 57.16. Held it as support, bounced off of it, extremely oversold on the MACD. Worked off of the overbought condition on the RSI very, very well. And this is geared up to make a new high again. This is basically the perfect setup for that to happen. If it fails, then we're going to come back, retest 55, 56 area, and the upward momentum would basically have finished. But this is a really good setup and good opportunity for it to be a new high here on Pfizer. NAKD does not look too good. You can see that it crossed above on the MACD, yet it's making new lows. And yeah, man, this is not a good time to buy into it yet. It looks like it can still fall back down and break down below $5. So I would wait to see a retest of $5, see if it can hold, and then buy in. But right now, it does not look good. Central Electric Group. What the heck? I haven't traded this in years. But yeah, man, it looks very, very bad. So I'd be careful. So Disney, it's doing its thing. Basically, it's making higher lows here. You can see it's making one higher low. And now, essentially, we need to see if it can come back down, retest this 20 exponential moving average. Sorry, excuse me. And hold that level of support. If not, then, if it can hold the 150 level as support, that would be very good. And then continue to move on upward. We can see that, we had a decently sharpish move downward on the MACD, right? You can see it was a sharp move downward on the MACD, yet the stock price did not really fall as much. So that's what we want to see. That is a very bullish scenario. So that's what we want to continue to see as Disney continues to fall. So this is pretty good. I would much rather buy it when the MACD is oversold for a better buying opportunity. Or if you want to be safe, I would wait for a close above this high here at 157.07. So yeah, either way, this does look bullish overall. This setup currently, right? And then potentially we can come back and retest and fill this gap all the way over here at 173.87. So that is going to be the upward target. But yeah, overall, Disney is showing some bullish signs. All right, Palantir, PLTR. Obviously, you can see that it's holding this level of support at 1781 very, very well. But we're failing to close above the 20 exponential moving average. So that has been a thing that we've been seeing in these beaten down stocks. Also, PLTR as it does better, I guess, during Republican presidencies because of the way that their company makes money. So you could go long here, but then also, you have to be considerate of the fact that 1706 is the level of support below. You can see that that's a pretty considerable level of support at $17 essentially. So yeah, I mean, if you do want to go long, a safer long entry would be a close and a hold of this above $19. So if we can close and hold above 19.10, that would be a much better buying opportunity for PLTR. Right now, it's just weak. The MACD is becoming oversold now. So, I mean, it's really just a toss-up at this point. So it can fall down even lower, or it can hold this level of support as it breaks above. So I would much rather wait for it to break above 19.10, hold that, and then continue on higher. So pins looks very, very similar. You can see that this support here at 34.20 is very, very important. We closed yesterday above the 20 exponential moving average, and then today we fell right back down. So, but we did hold this 36.25 level of support very, very well on pins. So 36.25, we held that. We can fall much lower to 35.75. But essentially, again, it would be a much safer opportunity to go long if we break this level of resistance here at 38.60. So if we can break 38.60, which was also, we retested that yesterday as well at 38.63. So 38.63, if we can close above that level, that would be a much safer opportunity to go long. You can see that the Bollinger Bands are, tightening up a bit. The MACD is still overbought, so there's still more room to the downside. This huge move in the RSI is not bullish because we had a very, very strong, abrupt, sharp move in the RSI here. Yet not a big move in the stock price itself. That's why we, I think algorithmically we had a sell-off the next day because of this sharp move in the RSI was very, very bearish. So yeah, there is that for pins. I would just be very careful and wait for a close above 38.63 to go long. So very similar to the RSI on pins, right? The RSI on BABA we sharply jumped up. Obviously, it's much better than pins, but we sharply jumped up. The RSI sharply moved upward as well, and it looks like BABA is going to come back and retest 117.81. And it might even fall back down to 116. But overall, this is not the best stock to go long on. We're now overbought on the MACD. We were oversold. Essentially, it would be much safer to buy BABA above 127.71. If we can cross above 128, basically, that would be a safer opportunity to go long on BABA. But right now, it still can go either way. And yeah, it's not the best time to go long. So HUT, you can see that it made a higher low We have support at 731, and essentially, if you want to go long and have like a stop loss at maybe even somewhere below 7 or in that area, this would be a pretty decent long opportunity here because we are at this level of support. The only issues now are that the MACD is overbought. The 20 exponential moving average is still acting as resistance. So you could wait for a close above the 20 exponential moving average before going long. But currently right now, if you were to go long, it's pretty decent risk reward for you here. So yeah, overall, I mean, we have clear resistance over here at 834, and then we have a gap to fill at 868. So 868 is the first like important upward target for HUT. And overall, if we can close above this 20 exponential moving average here, that would be very, very bullish. And it would basically mean, I mean, look, if we start reversing here, then people are going to start taking notice, and then potentially this is 100% move that could happen in the next few weeks potentially. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Watch for those levels of resistances, and if we can close above this high here at 915, that would be very, very good for HUT. So Apple, you can clearly see like very similar to Microsoft and the NASDAQ. We had an uptrend, we failed the uptrend, and now we're coming back to retest this levels of support. So a very important level of support is going to be this here at 175.86. If we can fall back down, find support above 175.86, and then continue on higher on Apple, then that would be a very strong signal for the rest of the market as well, because Apple would basically, Apple is one of the stocks that dictates the market direction. So if it starts doing better, then the overall market is most likely going to do better as well. So yeah, if that level fails, then this 20 exponential moving average at essentially 174, 175 is going to be the next level of support for Apple. You can see that now the MACD is oversold. We're lowering on the RSI as well. So yeah, overall, this is just a normal correction. This is still considered to be a bull flag. We can still fall down even to 175, and it would still be a bull flag. So that's what I'm assuming is going to happen. We might fall a bit lower, come back, retest these levels of support, and then continue on higher. So yeah, keep that in mind on Apple. Roku is honestly just all over the place. It's very, very just, this does not look good at all. This is not a healthy charting setup. This is not healthy in terms of the indicators, nothing. Like, this is just, it's not worth even, there's so many other stocks that have better setups and everything. But since we're looking at it, the 20 exponential moving average is holding as support very, very well, which is a good sign. The MACD is oversold, which is also a good sign. And the RSI sharply fell downwards from a, pretty decent move, which is also pretty bullish. And also you can see that this is a bull flag on Roku. So, I mean, technically it looks pretty bullish. So if we can close above 240, 241, that is going to be a really, really solid opportunity to go long, I think. But overall, as long as we hold this 222 level, that's a really important level of support currently. Otherwise, if we fail the 222 level, we can come back and retest this trend line here, and then that would be pretty devastating to this bull flag, and it would basically nullify it. But by that point, the MACD would become much more oversold. So just keep that in mind on Roku, and just be careful. So VeChain looks very similar to Ethereum, because it's oversold on the MACD, and we didn't really do much on the we didn't really even close above this resistance level here. So we need to close above the 88.39 level on VeChain here, and then that would be a better opportunity to go long. We did hold the level of support at basically 8 cents, 808, but yeah, I mean, this is not the best bullish case scenario setup here. But you know, if we can break above that level, if Bitcoin and Ethereum start doing really, really well as well, and we break above these levels of resistance and hold, that'd be really good for VeChain. But it all really depends on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And right now we're also above this 20 exponential moving average. We're oversold on the MACD, so we need to see if we can close above these levels of resistance. And then we need to see if we can close above 901. That would be really important. If we can close above 901, that would be pretty bullish on VeChain. I would be pretty surprised and happy, to be honest. So yeah, just keep that in mind for VeChain as well. OWV, so we can clearly see we're in a huge uptrend here, right? What I'm going to be interested to see is if we come back and retest this trend line support level around like 31 to 30, even 35 cents essentially in the next coming days. If we hold that level of support. So essentially I made a trend line from November 29th and November 30th, the bottom wicks, and then I extended it. So that is essentially going to be very important. I mean, we can't really, I'm not sure if this has options, but yeah, I mean, I would much rather buy around like 20 cents. If we can, I mean, if it comes back down to 20 cents, that would be a much better buying opportunity. But right now, you know, we're at like very, very like parabolic move. So, you know, don't chase, don't get caught bag holding. And you can see this trend line is also perfectly coincided with the 20 exponential moving average currently. So yeah, that's going to be a very important level. We need to see how this 30 cents to 35 cent range is going to hold for OWV. So AMD is also, you know, if Nvidia does really well, AMD usually follows just a bit behind, right? And if AMD does really well, Nvidia tends to follow lagging behind as well. So clearly, you know, we had an uptrend here. We're coming back and retesting levels of support. This is completely normal. The 20 exponential moving average is at 143, essentially 142.85. So this, you know, we worked off of extreme overbought and now we're almost oversold. The only issue is that the RSI is stagnant. So that is not what we want to see here. It means that there still could be more room to the downside, potentially to 138.50 on AMD. So just be careful. We need to see how essentially 140, 138.50 and you know, this 143 level holds. But overall, you know, it really depends on the SPY, the NASDAQ, and if they start turning, and if the larger tech companies begin to turn upwards, and Nvidia begins to start turning upwards, then AMD is most likely going to turn upwards as well. This is still technically a bull flag, but usually what ends up happening, usually when you have this sort of a setup here, right? We end up making a higher high than this. At this point, make everyone bullish, and then we collapse. So just be careful. I'm going to save this and to see if it plays out. But usually that's what ends up happening. So just be careful about that. If you do want to go long, you can go long as we break above this high here at 148.85, and then you can play the move back up to this high, and then, you know, leave your runners. But yeah, essentially that is that for AMD. So TLM oversold on the MACD, moving upwards. We held this level of support pretty well, but now it's failing to close above the 20 exponential moving average once more. So today it needs to close above 22 cents, essentially. If it closes above 22.05, that would be very bullish, because it would mean 2 consecutive days closed above the 20 exponential moving average. And usually when that happens, it means that there's more continued upside for the coming days. So overall, you know, it is bullish because of the MACD. And now what we need to see is strength out of the rest of the crypto market, obviously. So we could fall back down and retest 20 cents. But again, you know, if 20 cents fails, then we're going to come back and retest this low here at 1878. And then, you know, just overall, if Bitcoin and Ethereum do well, then this could just start popping off. But yeah, we can see that this has lots of volume. So yeah, essentially we just need to see if this can start flipping. If we close above this high here at 2650, that is going to be pretty bullish, because then that is essentially showing people that we're very strong on this, and it could potentially come back and retest 40 cents very quickly. So just keep that in mind also. So DLTR, we held this level of support at 132.50 perfectly, right? And now we perfectly came back and retested this level of resistance here at 142.16. So now essentially we need to see if we can come back, retest the level of support essentially at 138.61, see if that level holds, and then if it does hold at 137.50, 138.50, if we can fall back down, retest these levels, that would be a good opportunity to buy, and then we can come back and retest these highs. So yeah, just keep that in mind on Dollar Tree. Overall, it doesn't look that amazing anymore right now in terms of the technical indicators. It did the last time I did the analysis here, but now the MACD is overbought. The RSI is close to overbought, so it needs some time to cool off just a bit. All right, we're almost done here. Mara. So clearly Mara had another red day, very similar to Riot. They're both responding to the weakness in Bitcoin. This level here at 32.45 needs to hold. If 32.45 breaks, then 29.57 is going to be support. You can go back to Riot essentially to basically see my analysis, but it's really the same. We're failing at the 20 exponential moving average. We're falling down, and Bitcoin doesn't look too hot in the short term either. But the Bollinger Bands are squeezing a bit, which means that eventually, once the Bollinger Bands do squeeze and start touching, the price can either skyrocket upwards or downwards for an explosive move. So just keep that in mind. TSL, I've never even heard of this stock, but it looks like it's in a range, barely getting any volume. It's not the best stock to trade. I would wait for a break above 525 to go long. But yeah, you can see it's a very illiquid stock, barely anything going on. There's so many other stocks in crypto that are just way better opportunities than this. In my opinion, I wouldn't even bother too much with this. Walmart, reversed very, very well. You can see that the MACD is overbought now. The RSI is moving upwards because Walmart is making such a strong move. So if you don't have a position on Walmart, I would wait to see if we can break above 145.28. And then, if you want to be really safe, I would wait for a break of above 146.53. Overall, we came back and fell, and then we consolidated at this level of support pretty well, and then we just shot upwards. So right now, it looks like there could be continued move to the upside on Walmart. It looks pretty bullish, but again, this needs to break 146.53 to the upside needs to break. If that doesn't happen, then it can come back, retest this 143 level, and then that would be a much better opportunity. So right here, if we come here and we fail at this level of resistance, right, we can come back, retest these levels of support, and then create a bottom, and then skyrocket even more. Right now the MACD is overbought, so we need to see if it crosses and closes above that level of resistance. But overall, right now it looks very bullish. This is a clear uptrend, and it's uptrending very well. But yeah, overall, if you do want to wait, if you want to take a position, I would wait for a break of this uptrend. So tomorrow, that level of the uptrend, it needs to hold above 144.76. If it doesn't, then essentially it would be a good shorting opportunity, in my opinion. Tesla, this is a completely normal retracement back down to levels of support after a huge move upward, after a huge rally, right? The MACD was extremely overbought a few days ago, and now it's working its way into oversold territory. So now essentially we need to see if 130 can hold as support, and then the main level of support is going to be this trend line here. If we come back, retest this trend line here, by that point the the 20 exponential moving average is going to be coincided with that level perfectly at around 110 to 115. So if that level holds, that'd be really good. But overall, this is still a very bullish move on Tesla. This is still a potential bull flag. Even if we did fall back down even lower, it's still completely normal. So yeah, on Tesla. And it's very similar to the rest of the SPY and the NASDAQ. Obviously, we were uptrending huge, and now we broke this uptrend, and we're coming back and retesting support. So it's completely normal. Facebook doesn't look as good as the other large, tech stocks, because we failed at this. We broke down below this 337 level. So now the next level of support is going to essentially be this 20 exponential moving average, which is currently 333-ish. So 333-ish is going to be the next level of support. But it is a good sign that the RSI dramatically sharply fell down. So that's a very good sign. It means that there's sensitivity to the downside, and there's more potential room to the upside. And yeah, overall, I mean, we're making higher lows on Facebook. So if this 330 to 333 level holds, it would be very overall bullish in the grand scheme of things. And then Facebook can come back and retest 350 plus very soon thereafter. So yeah, overall it looks decent. Everything is just pulling back essentially because, the market had a huge rally, and a bit of a pullback is completely normal. So if 333 breaks, 330 is going to be the support. And then of course this 326.10 level is going to be the next level of support. Bingo does not look too good. It's at $3. It was trading at like $12 earlier this year. It was trading at $15 earlier this year. So clearly it's not looking too good. This is not a good setup currently. Yeah, I mean, for right now, I would wait to see if we can break above. I wouldn't even get in until we break above this 20 exponential moving average and close above it. That would essentially be a close or two above 340. If we can close above 340, that would be much better. You can see that the MACD is oversold, which means that there is somewhat of a room to the upside. The RSI is making new lows, but the price keeps falling. So I would be careful. I would wait for it to cross and close above levels of resistance before going long, because it can just continue falling. There must be really bad news with the company. That's probably why it's continuing to fall. But yeah, I would just be really careful. XRP looks really garbage. You can see that it worked off of the oversold MACD, and it only jumped up 4 cents, and now the MACD is almost overbought. So it's not the best setup. You can see that, the 20 exponential moving average is still acting as resistance here. It really all depends on the rest of the crypto market as well. But currently, this is not the best case scenario. What you want to see on XRP is you want to see, while the MACD is this oversold, you want to see it at least, break above levels of resistance, because this is a huge move on the MACD, yet we barely moved in the price action. So that's not good. Yeah, man, I would want to see some closes above the 20 exponential moving average before going long on XRP. And then hopefully, the rest of the crypto market can also start to bounce. But overall, XRP does not look bullish right now. HBAR looks much more bullish. So HBAR looks pretty bullish. You can see that it's holding this 20 exponential moving average as support. This is a bull flag formation that's being formed here. The MACD is oversold. The RSI is moving upwards, which means that this can potentially start to break even above this 34-33 level. And then, we can come back and retest these levels of resistance up here and over here. So yeah, we could potentially go up much higher on HBAR. This is a bullish setup. So overall, this was basically a textbook retest of the bull flag. And now we need to see if we can break above. So if we essentially break above 33 cents, 32.5 cents, that is going to be pretty bullish for H bar. And then it can mean potentially we can go back and retest 38 cents. So yeah, there is my analysis for everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you made it this far, I love you. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And make sure to follow me on Twitter. Make sure to follow me on all the other social medias at Hamid Trades. I had a really spectacular year with you guys last year, and now this year it's going to be even better. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.